Welcome to Butterfly Conservation, Cambridgeshire and Essex's thoughts on butterfly and wildlife gardening. I'm going to take a little walk round our Cambridgeshire garden here. Our ethos has always been wildlife, but also vegetable production. You can see the oxeye daisies in full flower, and the grass for some is probably looking a little bit out of hand. The oxeye daisies are very, very good for beetles, including a longhorn beetle just there. And butterflies. It's a little bit of a cloudy day, unfortunately. Good for filming, but not quite so good for any butterfly activity. It's not all long grass and completely wild. We do have an area that's cut and buddleia behind it so that we can use it for sitting in, for eating in, for socialising and chatting. We also have plenty of bushes. The dogwood here has just finished flowering. The elder behind it's still going. Elder's not very good for wildlife. There's something, it doesn't have a lot of nectar. Buddleia, privet, bramble, rose. They're all excellent for wildlife, for butterflies, for moths, and this is the spot we do our moth trapping too. A productive veg spot doesn't have to be a desert for wildlife. This is our pear tree. Violets below it, very popular in the spring when they're flowering. The scent of them is fantastic. Small tortoiseshells, brimstones, and then beyond we have our strawberries. We have to keep the blackbirds off those, and our salads, our globe artichokes. And the productive area, we don't actually use any chemicals though, so it's still very productive but excellent for wildlife with bird nesting hedges behind. The woodland bit of the garden is probably better for moths than butterflies, although the speckled woods do like this area when it's more dappled shade down here for basking in the part sunlight, part shady area under the trees. The bees are rather busy at this nettly patch at the bottom of the garden. It's quite an expanse of nettle with bramble behind it. You would need rather a lot of nettle for caterpillar food plants, for peacocks, small tortoiseshell, things like that. So we don't really recommend that that's a good idea for a small garden. This is probably even not a particularly large area for them to use. Bramble though is very, very popular. The flowers are excellent in high summer, and at the end of the summer commas and peacocks and things absolutely love feeding on the ripe blackberries when they're getting ready for hibernation. We're going to finish quite close to the house. We've got here privet and honeysuckle. Again, excellent resources for moths and butterflies for nectar and larval food plants. And then at this side we're starting to get into our slightly wilder bit of grass. Even if you only had a small amount of grass, to have that much long grass would be a very, very useful resource for things like meadow browns and speckled woods. This grass has got marjoram growing in it, which when it flowers soon will be an excellent popular butterfly plant. Next to that is our herb garden, which is far, far tidier, but is one of the best ways of actually having food plants for yourselves and things for the butterflies too. Chives are in flower at the moment. The oregano and marjoram aren't quite there, and at the back the sage is in absolutely full peak flowering. The bees absolutely love it. The rosemary's finished, that's been cut a little bit. So even if you only have a patio, oh, here's a small tortoiseshell just basking on the slabs, and it's probably been using the flowers before I disturbed it. Even if you only have a small amount of space, you can do that much and provide valuable pollination resources. So why not give wildlife gardening a go? Even if you've got a very small patch, grow a small amount of the grass longer for a few flowers and caterpillar food plants. And a few pots of herbs are a great pollinator resource, and you've still got room for your chair to sit out and enjoy it. Bye.